good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the people of the tube. I hope you're feeling grand, and all is well in your world. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to another A&Q Wednesday, everybody. I think I always adjust my glasses when I say A&Q Wednesday. I don't know why I do that. It's like a weird habit now. Stop it, Dave. Ow, that really hurt. Anyway, hi. Should we dive into question one? Yes, let's go. Okay, so question one today has a few bits, but nothing kind of like, what am I on about? I don't know what I'm on about. I'm an idiot. Shut up, Dave. Right, get on with the question. Okay, so question one is, part one of question one is, what do you think of Queens of the Stone Age? I'm not the biggest fan. I like some of their songs, but I'm not what I would consider a fan. I find Josh Homme egotistical and annoying. I don't like his attitude at all. He just seems to come across as a spoiled little brat, and I don't like it. Especially because his ego seems to be far too big, and it doesn't matter who you are or where you are. Everyone needs an ego, definitely. Everyone's got an ego, definitely. But when that ego starts to dictate things and kind of like push you into this kind of like, aren't I special kind of territory, I think you need a reality check. And I don't know him, but everything I've seen on it, of him and interviews I've watched with him, I just don't like his attitude. I don't like the way he is. He seems to be one of those people who thinks I can get away with anything and like, I can do this and I'm a rock star and this, that and the other, and it's like, grow up, man. Get a life. It's, I don't know, it just seems really pointless and silly to me. He just seems really stupid. I just don't like his attitude and I don't like the way he is. And yeah, I mean, he's wrote some really cool songs and he's got a really cool voice. I love his voice. His voice is really distinctive. Sometimes it can get a bit drony though. But again, just my opinion. I'm not saying anything. This is just my opinion. It can get a bit kind of like, not going anywhere. And some of the Queens of the Stone Age songs don't go anywhere and they don't do anything for me. And as a result, I kind of just like zone out at that point. But my main problem with Queens of the Stone Age is Josh, because he just comes across like a bad word. You know what I mean? He just seems like a really deeply unhappy human being. He's always picking fights and always kind of complaining about one thing or another, and it's like, just shut up. It's like you're a millionaire rock star, man. Come on. There's people living in abject poverty, and you're complaining about like this, that, and the other, and it's all somebody throwing something at you at a festival. It's like, God's sake, get over yourself, man. And that's why I don't like I said, I don't really like that attitude of rock stars. It's like Axl Rose. I've got a real chip on my shoulder of Axl Rose's attitude as well. And I've read like Duff McKagan's autobiography and Slash's autobiography, and it's just like what Axl Rose put people through because of his egotistical, maniacal ways. He's just vile. Duff McKagan says in his book that like every gig he was terrified during the Use Your Illusion thing because Axl wouldn't show up. They would always go on late, and the way Duff got around it was just doing like copious amounts of bloody cocaine just to steady his nerves. To a point where obviously like his pancreas exploded and it nearly killed him, and all that stress and pressure that he got put under, like him and Slash and Izzy Stradlin and Matt Sorum and Steven Adler and all these people, they got put under because of his kind of like dominating ways. Is horrific, really. I mean, and is it worth it at the end of the day? No, it's not, because you're just remembered for being another bad word. You know what I mean? And who wants to be remembered for that? So. And Josh Homme seems to come across that same way of like, he would literally like, anyone given moment, he would sell you and throw you to the dogs if he felt like it. I don't know him, but he just seems to come across like a bit of a no to me. Like, I don't like that attitude of, the rock star attitude, if you will. I think it's delusional. I think it's stupid and it's detrimental to all sorts of things, and I don't like it. And Josh Homme just comes across like he's that kind of person, and it's just something I would never. someone I'd never want to meet, be involved with, or anything like that. People like that. I'm just not interested in that kind of egotistical, I'm the ruler, I'm the leader. Look at me, I'm a rock star kind of way. Just wrong, man. It's just wrong. Even when you reach a certain level of fame, whatever, you have to stay grounded. It's my personal opinion on that. Is you've got to stay grounded. You've always got to remember where you come from. It's like we were talking about this the other week at home. Me and my sister, my dad. Everyone came round for Father's Day. Whenever that was, and we were talking about kind of guitar playing, and we were saying how important it is for really good guitar players, unless they're ambidextrous, in which case it doesn't count. Really good guitar players, if they ever kind of get to a point where, God, I'm amazing, look at me, and then there's a beginner who can't play, and they kind of get looked down on because they can't play, you should always kind of go, instead of playing your guitar this way, you flip it, and you go, right, now play. Because it's a humbling experience, because all of a sudden, what you can do with this side, you can go... All of a sudden, you flip this guitar over. Yeah, I mean, the strings are upside down. I can't even do an E chord. I'm going for a G. Hold on to your hats. You know what I mean? That to me is like, it's such a humbling experience to do that. And I always feel you should remain grounded and know where you came from, know your limits and all that kind of thing. And I don't like the idea of people kind of like, going, oh, I'm just the best. Because I've met so many people like that. And it's just like, you're not, you're really not. Never think you're the best, because there's always somebody better than you. And when you meet them, you're going to be you're going to be in trouble. It's the Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix thing. Everyone was going around calling Eric Clapton God, and you can't get better than Eric Clapton. He's going to be, he's the best. There's no guitarist better in the world. Jimi Hendrix comes along, and all of a sudden, oh dear, you know what I mean? And that's the thing, is never think you're above anybody, because no one is. No one's above anybody. Doesn't matter how much money you've got, how much power you've got. You're still a human being. Although the jury's out on some people. Anyway, but yeah, Josh Homme comes across like that. He's just a spoiled kid to me. He's been handed all these amazing things. Like, you get to tour the world, you get to play music, got an amazing fan base and people who love you and love your music. And yet you still want to pick fights with certain people in the crowd and this, that and the other. And there's that footage of him at a festival where he gets something thrown at him. I don't know what it was. Either way, it doesn't matter. And he calls out this kid, and this kid's 17, 18 years old, and he's like, I'll beat you to death in front of your friends. And it's just like, oh, grow up, man. You're a 40-year-old man. You should have a bit more control over yourself. Oh, I'm ill. I don't care if you're ill. You should have more control. And he's a 17-year-old kid who's probably an idiot who threw something at you in the first place, because he probably doesn't like you because of the way you are in the first place. Have you ever thought about that? Anyway, sorry, that's a weird rant, but there is always that option. I don't know where that came from, but people don't like certain people for certain reasons, and people will throw things at people on stage because I don't like him. But they're the idiot. If you're on stage and you get on, that's what you're there to do. You're professional, and if one person out of a field of 50,000 people throws something at you, surely that doesn't matter. And a good example of this is Woodstock in 1999, Offspring. They're doing Have You Ever? And they get to the kind of the outro section of the song, and Dexter Holland, as he sings the first line of the outro of the song, when the truth walks away, he gets hit square in the side of the face by a bottle of God only knows what. It's Woodstock 99. It was horrific. It could have been anything. And he gets smacked square in the face. Or is it that side? It's one of the sides. I think it's that side, actually. He gets hit in the face. And it sounds like it hurt because you can hear it through the microphone, and it knocks him. He doesn't miss a beat somehow, but he keeps playing. And he just adjusts his glasses and keeps going. And just doesn't make anything of it. And it's just like, yes, man. That's what I want to see. It's like, yeah. Do what you want. I'm here to do this, and this is what I do. Obviously, when there are limits to that, but the thing is, if people start throwing stuff that's heavier than just bottles, and stuff like this, it's like, you walk off, don't you? You just leave. You don't. You just go, okay, fine. This is what you want. We're going. You just leave. And yeah, it's annoying and horrible. But the fact of the matter is, you have to take the high ground because people look up to you. If they see you going like, oh, I'm going to fight you and this, that, and the other, they're going, well, I can do that, or I don't like that about you. You know what I mean? It can go either way. And because you're an influencer, role model for some of these people, you need to set a decent example so you don't get bent out of shape. Jimi Hendrix at Isle of Wight Festival in 1970 is another example. That entire gig, things are going wrong for him. The wah pedal breaks along the watchtower. He can't get his sound right. The fuzz pedal goes wrong. The amps are going wrong. Everything's going wrong. And you can see in him how frustrated he is. I mean, literally 4 songs in, he's getting so wound up at stuff. But he stays. And he does his job. And he plays like a demon. And he's there to do that. And then at the end of it, yeah, he throws his black Strat on the floor and walks off and looks dejected and deflated. But the fact of the matter is, he did it, and that's it. And that's what you do. No matter how bad things get on the stage, no matter how many things fail, you cannot take this anger and aggression out on people in the crowd. Even if they've thrown something at you, you let it go. Like I say, you have to take the situation for what it is. I can imagine in the heat of the moment, it can get a bit out of hand, and you can get a bit kind of flustered. And there are reasons to scream at a crowd. There are reasons to, have a go at people in the crowd. Definitely. There's amazing footage of kind of like Bruce Dickinson at an Iron Maiden gig where he sees this guy, he punches a woman in the face, and Bruce Dickinson just goes at him. And it's like, yes, that's a reason, because you don't do that. Dave Grohl at another gig at the Roundhouse in London, where this other guy starts a fight and he stops the song and he points him out and he tells him to get out. That's reasons to stop a gig and get angry at somebody in the crowd. If they throw something at you, unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say it, it's almost to be expected. It's been going on forever. There's always been things being thrown onto the stage and this, that, and the other. And I say, you look at the Offspring gig, or Green Day in '94 Woodstock, where they get pelted with mud, but they keep playing. I think 9 Inch Nails played Woodstock, didn't they? They're covered in mud as well. Well, I think that might have been self-done, but I don't know, because 9 Inch Nails scared me to death. There's a band who do you want to join 9 Inch Nails? No, they scare me. I've tangent right off here on that. But yeah, what do I think Queen's Stone Age? Like some of the music, don't like Josh Homme. That would have been a quicker answer, but it wouldn't have been as fun, I don't think. Anyway, moving along. So anyway, I hope that's that part of everything. Anyway, I don't know if any of that made sense. I got a bit carried away, but I don't like I'm a rock star. I don't like it. It's not cool at any level. I just don't appreciate it. You're a musician. That's what you should be, focusing on your music and how to perform your music best and be the best musician that you can be. Not, I'm a rock star, look at me. That just seems wrong to me. Like I say, you have to stay grounded. You have to know where you come from, always retain where you came from, and stay humble and down to earth, and never think you're the best because there is somebody out there who's better than you. There always will be. You know what I mean? There just is. There is always somebody better than you. So all you can do is be happy with what you do, and that's all that matters. And if you're happy with what you do, that's all that matters, Anyway, so at some point you just got to stop chasing it, So at certain points you just got to kind of be happy. It's like, sorry, I'm doing it again. It's like what Tom Morello said though about his amp settings and his guitar, the Alma Homeless guitar and stuff like that, and his pedal board. He said for years and years he was searching for this elusive tone and he couldn't find it. And one day he just thought, right, this is what I've got. This is the sound I've got. This is the guitar I've got. This is the amp I've got. These are the settings I've got. I'm going to make the best of what I can with these. That's wicked. That's such a good attitude to have, I think, when it comes down to tone and stuff like that. And Tom Morello's tone is wicked. I've always loved Tom Morello's tone. And, and that's the way I feel as well. I felt that a long time ago. As soon as I found the Marshall Governor and stuff like the DS2 and the Vox wah and the Ibanez wah and certain things like that, I knew what sound I wanted, no ifs, no buts, and that was always something I was just going to stick to like glue. And I was just like, this is what I want for my sound. I want it to cut, but I want it to be warm and nice and singy. I want it to sound like an electric violin when I go to the neck pickup and solo, and I want it to kind of like, scream more when I go to the bridge pickup. But I want it to flow, and I want it to be smooth, and I don't want any harsh edges. I want it to be nice and rounded, but it needs to cut, and you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff. And as long as it's got that, I'm happy, you know what I mean, and that's the sound I always kind of go for. So yeah, but anyway, moving along. Sorry everyone, sorry, that's horrific. So the other part of question 1 is, what would you recommend to approach the John Frusciante tone using a Mustang? Depends what Mustang it is. If it's a single coil Mustang, which I don't know if it is because you mentioned this in a sec. If it's a single coil Mustang, you're kind of okay, because single coils in a Mustang. I mean, John, I've seen John use Mustangs. He loves Mustangs. He's got that red one, and I think he's got a white one as well, which he wrote Under the Bridge on. And he's probably got a few more, knowing John. He loves his offsets, Although I've never seen him with a Jazzmaster, but me not being a Jazzmaster fan, I can understand that. They never feel, Jazzmasters don't feel right. Anyway, if you've got single coils on the Mustang, then wicked, because you don't really have to do anything. It's fairly easy. If you've got humbuckers, which ties me into the last part of question 1, you're going to struggle. So the last part of question 1, just I'll drag this in now, is can you get the John Frusciante tone with a humbucker in the neck? No, you can't, sadly. As much as it pains me to say that, I would love to say yes, but sadly you can't get John's scar tissue down in California tone, whatever. That neck, dirty, clean tone of John's, you can't get that out of a humbucker. Even with a coil tap, coil split, it's not a humbucker sound, it's a single coil sound. So really you need single coil pickups. You will be able to get the ready-made tone and the Fortune faded tone out of it, but you won't be able to get that. I mean, you could probably get a little bit close to it, but it's never gonna quite have the sparkle and the right tonality, because again, it's a humbucker. It's got too much mid-range and it's got too much low end. You need single coil pickups. So if it's a single coil Mustang, which I'm guessing it might not be if you asked about humbuckers, then you're okay. But if you've got a humbucker, then sadly, you can't really do it. I really hate to say that. It really pains me to say that, because I'm sorry. That's all I can say. You just can't. I have tried to figure out how a way to do that, and you can get kind of close, but it still doesn't sound right. It never works properly. Even with like something like the RTL, the Revelation RTL here, that sounds like a Telecaster, really, like on steroids. It's like a big Telecaster. It still doesn't quite do the John thing. It's still too rounded. It's still too warm and rounded, and it doesn't have quite the clank and cut and brightness and sparkle and the right mid-range and the right treble and the right bass, and it's just not there. It's a pig. But yeah, you do need single coils, I'm sorry to say. Sorry. I hate that. I hate doing that. I feel like I've let you down. Sorry. I'm sorry. Because that's not really a very good answer. Well, it's the only answer I've got, sadly, but it's not the answer I wanted to give. But if you've got single coils, then wicked. If you haven't, arg. That's all I can say, because it's difficult. It's really, it's impossible, really. You can't do it. It's not possible. You need single coil pickups. So even if you added a coil tap split, you still won't be able to do it, sadly. So, sorry, that's not the best answer, especially if you were kind of looking to get in John's tone and you got his humbuckers. It's a pig. It really is. So I do apologise. It's not the answer I wanted to give, but it's the answer I have to give, because it's it's the truth. You can't get John's tone out of a humbucker. That dirty, clean Strat telly tone. doesn't come from humbuckers. You have to have single coils. You have to have single coils. So yeah, sorry about that. But recommended approach. I mean, it's just the same thing as what you always do with John's clean tone. Is you just go for that dirty clean tone. You know, that compresses either from a pedal or the amp, and and that's what you do. That's how I've got a million videos on that kind of thing. So yeah, sorry about that. I don't mean to. I don't want to put anybody's fire out or anything like that kind of thing, but it really is so important to have single coil pickups to do the John Frusciante thing. You know, it's like, you know, trying to, you know, do Steve Ray Vaughan on a humbucker. It doesn't really sound quite right. You know, you can get close, but it never sounds quite right. And the same thing with Rory Gallagher. It never really quite sounds right. Is that right or wrong? On anything but a Stratocaster, you know. Much in the same way you can't, you know, Slash's tone doesn't really exist in humbuckers. You know, you can play Sweet Child of Mine and November Rain and all this kind of stuff on a single coil, no problem. But it never sounds quite right. You know, there isn't quite the right tonality. You know, it's difficult. It's difficult. Going after signature tones of people it can be a pig. It can be a pig. So I do apologise. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to move on to question. Ooh, I'm a bit close. No, it's not. It's the Heartwood because it's massive. Sorry, Heartwood. Ooh, let's put you back there. Okay. Okay. So moving on to question 2. So I do apologise about question 1. I wish I could do more. Okay. So question 2, I got a bit worked up there. Sorry. So question 2 is: what are your thoughts, and do you have any experience with the Sustainiac systems? I've got no experience with a Sustainiac pickup, but all I know is I really want one. I really want Sustainiac pickups in a guitar. I really want that. Because it just lends itself even more to that electric violin thing that I want. Especially in a neck pickup. I remember my first awareness of a Sustainiac pickup was Steve Vai doing Whispering a Prayer, which is still my favourite Steve Vai song. And it's mainly because of the Sustainiac, because it sounds so gorgeous to me. It's just something about the way he uses it in that song and the way it sounds. I really like it, and it just sounds really cool. I've tried EBOs, but EBOs, as much as I love an EBO, they're really cool. I would prefer a Sustainiac system in the guitar that I could turn off and on. And Matt Bellamy's another one who I love what he does with the Sustainiac. Yeah, one day. It's really cool. They're just really cool. I mean, I've had no experience with it. I've had experience with an EBO, and I adored the EBO. My friend Ian's got one, and I was just like, oh, how can I steal this without him noticing? It was just absolutely gorgeous, and I love it. But if it was a choice between an EBO and Sustainiac, I would go for Sustainiac any day of the week, because I just like the idea of also having this hand free, and it sings. It's got to sing. It's got that violin-y thing of like being bowed, and I love that flow that violinists have when they flow. You know, I mean, it's just something about like violin sound that's always affected me on a real high level, and it really gets me. And the Sustainiac does that with an electric guitar to me, because I kind of like approximate that with loads of distortion. Like I say, I just have gain all the way up all the time. You know, and I love that. I will always have gain cranked to the teeth. Because I just prefer it. But there's the difference in tonal qualities between the Sustainiac and just having the gain maxed out is just a little bit different. They sing the same, but they don't sound the same, if that makes any sense. But I've never tried a Sustainiac, but hopefully one day I'll get a guitar with it. I was looking at the Ed O'Brien signature Strat, which has got a Sustainiac in the neck Strat, and I was just like, can I stretch to buying one of them? And the answer's no. But yeah, maybe one day. Maybe one day I'll be able to get a Sustainiac guitar, and I'll probably massively overused the pickup, but that's fine by me because again, it comes back to like that sound I've always had in my head of I always want the sound to flow, and I want it to sound like that violin-y thing where it just kind of it feels like you're kind of doing this. It floats, and you watch a violinist's arm when they bow, and there's just so much finesse to it, and there's just so much. What's the word? And it's just wicked. It's just so much. So there's just a gorgeous flow to a violin, especially in kind of slow, kind of like, especially if you get to like if you go to like an air or something like that, or certain classical pieces. And it's just, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Yeah, it really is cool. So yeah, thoughts on the Sustainiac systems. I've had no experience, but yeah, I love the idea of them. They're just so cool. So cool. So yeah, maybe one day. Okay, so I hope that's a question. Moving on to question 3. That was a bit weird and overdone. But anyway, question 3. Okay, so the question 3 scares me a little bit. So question 3 is, what does it mean when one of my pedals is getting too warm to touch? It works fine, but I'm worried. Yeah, I would say you've got a really bad problem with that pedal. If a pedal, if it doesn't have a preamp valve in it, if it's warming up to a point where you can't touch it because it's too hot, that pedal is probably knackered. Even if it sounds like it works right, there's something really bad going on with that. You want to get that checked out as soon as possible. That is really dangerous because you just don't want that. You don't want that. It could do all sorts of damage. There could be God knows what going on inside it to heat it up like that. If you can't touch it, then because it's too warm, you don't want that. You don't want that pedal on your pedal board. You don't want to be using it. You either go and get it repaired or replace it. You don't want to be using a pedal that's too hot to touch. That's really dangerous. So yeah, you definitely had the right to be worried. I would be taking that away straight away. Yeah, don't use it. It's really dangerous. That could be really, really dangerous. I've never had a pedal that's been too hot to touch before, but I have played through a Vox. Vox AC30s are beasts for overheating. They really are hot, especially the old ones. And I remember playing through a Vox. Can't remember what year it was, but it was the first ever Vox. It was called the TV front because it looks like a television. And basically what it is if you look inside it, it's great. It's just 2 AC15 chassis bolted together with a couple of jumper leads to each of the amps to make it a 30 watt. Ridiculous. It's so dangerous. And none of it's shielded properly or anything like that. And I remember that amp was amazing. It sounded amazing though. But you didn't want to play, after about 5 minutes of playing through it, it was that hot you could fry an egg on it. And to turn it off, you had to put your hand inside your sleeve and flick the switch off because it got that hot. I mean, that probably could have been sorted out, rebiasing it cooler, but you'd have probably sacrificed its sound a bit more that way. The old AC30s, when you bias them really cold, they kind of lose that AC30 sound, which is a bit of a shame because when you bias an AC30 hot, they sound amazing, but their life is diminished substantially. So because they run so hot. But yeah, so yeah, I wouldn't trust that pedal as far as I could throw it. If it's getting to a point where it's that hot you can't touch it, no, you want to take it to somebody to get it repaired or just get a new one. And don't use it. Don't use it. Sorry, I'm going to yawn. Oh, it's really rude of me. Oh, I do apologise, everybody. So sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, get rid of that. You don't want that. Okay, so moving on to the final question, everybody. Question 4. Okay, question 4 is: I was watching John Frusciante's solo at the Kawasaki show in 1990. The Kawasaki Japan show, sorry, in 1990. And 4, the way he makes the guitar scream is awesome. Do you have any tips on how to get a sound like that? Other than what I've already spoke about in my John Frusciante series and John videos, I mean, it's what, you know, it's an Ibanez Waris DS2. John doesn't have chorus on during that point in time in that sound, But so chorus doesn't really come into it. But it's a DS2 with a lot of distortion, maxed out most probably, and the Ibanez wah, and really loud Marshall amps. But the way John's making it, he's also using a delay as well, which he did have. He had an Ibanez delay pedal. I think it was black. It was like this so big, and it was a black pedal. It was a delay. He had it for a while. He had. During the Mother's Milk era, he had the Chorus Ensemble, the CE1, the Ibanez WH10, DS2, a delay pedal, and he also had something else, but I've never been able to identify exactly what it is. So if anybody knows what that is, let us know in the comment section below. But the delay pedal, he used quite a bit around the 90s era, but not really much after that, actually. It wasn't until he kind of came back, it wasn't really until By the Way that delay became a thing again for him, really. Apart from the Bizarre show where somebody adds a slapback delay on his guitar during If You Have to Ask from the board, which is a bit weird. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why there's a slapback delay on his guitar. Well, it's not quite a slapback, but it's kind of like a, well, I suppose like a 16th note delay on his guitar. Well, maybe not 16th. It's 16th or 8th note delay on his guitar at the beginning of If You Have to Ask, and also in the down, 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 down. It appears there again. It's like somebody's mixing it in. It's on the soundboard because John didn't have a delay pedal at that time, so it's coming from the mixing desk. Really weird. I don't know why that's there. Anyway, but yeah, how do you get that sound? I mean, like I say, it's just distortion, wah, and delay. That is it. That's the three elements there, and it's what John's playing more than anything. Whoa, sorry, I did it again. Hitting really high notes and dive bombing them. With his guitar, hitting the strings behind the nut. That thing. I don't have a plectrum around here, but he's doing that. And that's that thing he's doing where he's got the guitar like this and he's doing that. That's what he's doing there. He's hitting the strings behind the nut. And again, it's very Jimi Hendrixy. It's very, very Jimi Hendrixy, like extremely Jimmy. That solo is really a lot like Jimmy. There's not. But saying that, John is a disciple of Jimi Hendrix. Like, he really, he is. We all are really. In a way, we're all a disciple of Jimi Hendrix. Because there's not many people who haven't. The electric guitar, and again, this is my opinion. I don't think the electric guitar would be what the electric guitar is today without Jimi Hendrix. It's just, he changed everything about it in 4 years. Well, technically 3-ish. 3 and a bit. He just changed the entire guitar to what we know as it as today. With how he did it. And he did it with limited equipment. God knows what he could have achieved with today's, equipment and gear. Crikey, can you imagine? Oh, I don't want to imagine. It'd upset me. Okay, so the tips thing, just lots of distortion, delay, wah, and it's the whole Jimi Hendrix thing of hitting a note and. It's tremolo arm abuse, and it's great, and it's wicked, and I can't express it enough how much fun it is, and how much it gets out of you on an emotional level. When you lay into the guitar with your tremolo, and when you lay into the guitar in general, even without the tremolo, when you really hit the guitar and you really get into it, it vents so much out of you. It just gets it out, and it just you can just feel it draining away, and it's nice, it's lovely, and it really does. It just makes you feel better, which is what music is, and the guitar is wicked at. It's the expression side of it is just so incredible. So, and there's a lot of expression in John's solo at that point in time. That solo is amazing. It's really cool, and it's just cool. You can just tell he's gone in the moment as well, especially that bit where he kind of bends this. He bends this note up here, and he's got the guitar like this, and he's just kind of like wagging the tremolo arm to stimulate the feedback, and he goes like that, and you can see his face. He smiles because he's like, yes, that's the note I wanted it to feed back on, and then he just hits the low E, and it comes into Green Heaven, and it's just cool, But that's what it is. It's just delay, distortion, and reverb. And I say for DS2. Yeah, Ibanez-Wah is maxed out as well. The depth dial on the Ibanez-Wah is maxed out. You can tell it is, and also you can tell it is because in Green Heaven, the quiet bit where John's doing the wah-wah scratching bit, you can hear it wanting to feed back because he's that loud, and there's that much gain going on. When he puts it to the toe down position, it feeds back a bit more because there's so much gain even on his clean tone. Because John's clean tone during the Mother's Milk era with a Strat, it was more gained up when he used his Ibanez's, but when he went to a Fender Strat, his clean tone was still very distorted. And it was really trebly as well. He had a lot of treble and a lot of presence to his tone during that period of time. The late 80s, early 90s, up to Blood Sugar Sex Magic, basically. He had a lot of gain on his clean tone. He dialed that back, obviously, for when it came to kind of like the Blood Sugar Sex Magic era tour. He has less gain on his guitar tone, his cleanish tone, but. And you can hear how it was starting to progress, it was starting to develop, and then obviously when he came back at Californication era, it was kind of gained up again, but it was darker and warmer and rounder and a lot more refined than it was, during the Mother's Milk era. Get it, max out the gain, stand on your wah, stick a delay on, and let your guitar scream and vent it. And just let it feed back, let it scream. Hit high notes, dive bomb high notes, hit the strings behind the nut, dive bomb them, and hits that chord at one point, which is just a G major triad, which is really, really cool. And he does all these kind of, which is very Jimi Hendrixy, where he's really with the wah-wah pedal, and it's really cool, just awesome. And he's in the key of E minor as well, so kind of like, you think E minor pentatonic scales up and down the neck of what you can hit here and there. So, that is it. And again, then it's just down to you to express it, basically, and just kind of like, just go a bit nuts and lose yourself in the sound, which is what it's all about. I always feel that kind of when the sound is aggressive, and it's screaming, it's because you can't walk around going in people's faces going, nah! It's not cool. You can't do that kind of thing. But the guitar can scream for you when you can't. The guitar can cry for you when you can't. The guitar can get angry for you when you can't. The guitar also can vent all these emotions and leave you feeling calmer at the end of it. You know what I mean? Because it can take them, and it can take them. Music can take it. And that is the most beautiful thing about music, I think, is it can take all of your sorrow, all of your pain, all of your anger, all of your grief. It can take it and it can give you back something gorgeous. Instead of just kind of leaving you with nothing, or you're just feeling terrible, or this, that, and the other, music gives you something back all the time. You know what I mean? Because it's tough, and it can take everything you throw at it and keep coming back and say it's all right, which is why I love it. Well, it's one of the reasons why I love it. And the guitar can do it as well. The guitar can take your abuse and the anger and the sadness and everything you've got. The guitar can take it. And it can give you peace of mind back. It can give you everything you need back. It can give you fulfillment and belonging if you just submit to it. As long as you are open to it and don't pass it off as a nothing, you can get so much out of these things. You really can. And again, music will always give if you're open to it. So you should always be open to music. You need to be a sponge. You need to absorb it all and take it all in. There's always something in everything. Even when you think there isn't, there is. It's bizarre. And music's important, man. It's really important for everything. But yeah, an expression. You've got to learn to express with a guitar. It's all well and good trying to be flashy and showy on a guitar, but it's nothing if you've got no feel. You know what I mean? I really honestly believe that if you don't have any feel, and you can't channel emotions, and you can't connect, and this thing becomes you, it doesn't mean anything. You can't get anywhere like that. I don't feel. I mean, this is just my opinion. I know there's different opinion, but this is just my opinion. This is the way I feel and see it. Is you've got to be one with the guitar, and you've got to be honest with the guitar. And if you're honest with the guitar will be honest with you, and your amp will be honest with you, and your pedals will be honest with you, and they will support you, and they will carry you, and they will help you get out what's in, which is really helpful. And then music helps you because you're creating music. You're not, you're not trying to wow anybody with technical prowess or be a rock star or any of that nonsense. You're a musician. And that's what we are, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. You've got to express yourself through a guitar, and any instrument for that matter. You've got to be able to express it. You've got to have feel. If you're playing a sad piece of music, you have to make people feel that sadness and that pain. And if you're playing a happy piece of music, you have to make people feel happy. But again, everything's so subjective. You could play the saddest thing in the world and it can make somebody feel happy because they can be upset, but they feel less alone because of something you've played that's sad. You know what I mean? So there's these weird kind of juxtapositions and weird kind of bends in reality, in musical reality, which is just makes it even more gorgeous because it's just so just wicked. I can't describe my love for music and the guitar in words. The words do not and will never exist. I just know that this is me. That might sound really silly, but like that is literally all I know. If I know anything at all, is this is me, and this is what I want it to be me. If that makes any sense. Yeah. Anyway, tangent again. I know. Sorry. But yeah, John Frusciante's solo of that thing, that is a classic example of expression. You look at Machine Gun by Jimi Hendrix. You look at there's so many. I mean, where do we even start? Maggot Brain, Before the Beginning, Soothsayer by Buckethead. Even though he's shredding it, just there's something in there. You know what I mean? There's just something in there that isn't in there in some of his other songs. It's funny. Some of his other songs, if you watch stuff like some of these other shreddy songs where he just goes nuts at the end over a melodic chord progression, Nottingham Lace, or Nottingham Lace, however you say it. I can never remember the name of that song properly, but the end of it is such a melodic thing, and when he shreds, it isn't as impacty as Soothsayer is. It just isn't. Well, to me anyway. Again, all subjective in this world, but yeah. Anyway. I don't really have anything else to say on that one. I hope some of that made some kind of sense. I've sat on my foot and now I'm going to get pins and needles. Ooh, that's going to be pleasant. I actually quite like pins and needles though. But anyway. No one needs to know that. Anyway. Yeah, sorry everyone. I've got into a funny mindset now. But I hope some of that made some kind of sense anyway. And yeah. And just remembered. Expression and feel and the ability to play what you feel through improvisation is key. It's nearly everything. And I say nearly everything because obviously you have to have a technique that's good enough for you to be able to do that in the first place. You know what I mean? One cannot exist without the other, but one is more important than the other. I feel, I always feel that you have to work on your technique. You have to get a good technique. You have to get a technique that works for your way of playing, and does what you want it to do. But once you have that, and once that's cemented in you, that's when you need to divert and start becoming feel-based and really start to understand that side of an improvisation. Being able to change things in the moment and literally at any given second express exactly what you're feeling and stuff like that. So it's so important. Yes, technique is super important, but it can only take you so much of the way. Feel takes you more of a way, and improvisation takes you more of a way, and being able to express takes you more of a way as well. Technique is only good if you have feel, really. So work on your technique, then work on your feel, and then the technique will get better through that. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense whatsoever. I don't know if that makes any sense. But anyway. That's interesting. Sorry, I just saw a weird checking pattern appearing on this guitar. I was like, oh, that's new. I could talk about it for hours, but I'm going to stop myself there, everybody, because if not, I'll probably... I don't know. I will go on for hours, and I'm going to stop myself there. So anyway, I hope I've answered your questions okay. I do apologise. Some of the answers aren't that great, and I do apologise for that. But hopefully there's something in there. If you want to submit a question for Q&A Wednesday, description box below has an email link. And yeah, I'll see you on Friday. Friday, I want to talk about this, if that's okay with you people on the tube. I recently got the Boss Katana foot switch. And this is something I've been meaning to buy for ages, and for some reason I just kept forgetting to buy it, which I'm an idiot for. But anyway, I've rectified that idiotness now, and I have it. And I want to talk about this, because this... Oh, blimey! Not to be horrible to Boss, but I really think this should have come with the amp. This costs, I think it's 80 quid, this thing. And the Boss Katana Mark 1 was, 100 watt was 200 quid when it came out. I would have happily paid 280 quid for this to come with that. Because this opens up so many worlds. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I could go to a gig with this and the Katana and not need any pedals. Terrifying. Apart from a wah-wah. Okay, so Friday's vid, we're going to talk about this and how glorious it is. And also, now I've got a new computer that works and is in date. Thank you, Jay. I'm going to try and get the Tone Studio up, because I don't really want to change anything on the Katana. It's fine the way it is, but I would like to be able to do certain things. Now I've got this. There are certain ways I'd like to structure the effects, and you can't do that with the amp panel, sadly, which kind of annoyed me in a way. But you can do with the Tone Studio, and then you can use this thing. So it's quite terrifying. But yeah, so Friday's vid, everybody. Boss, what's it called? The FS what or another? I don't know. Oh, GAFC. The GAFC. Really cool. Really cool. Yeah. So yeah, I'll see you on Friday, everybody, for another vid and on this beast. And that beast, I love the Katana so much. Anyway, yes, you're coming on a road trip to France with me. I hope you're going to enjoy that. And so are you, by the way. We're in the planning stages. So it's going to be an experience, I tell you. Especially for what I've got planned. It's going to be mental. Anyway, enough on that. I'll see you again, everybody. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. And I will see you again very soon. Friday for that matter. And have a great one till then. If not before, if I don't do some kind of weird song or, I don't know, Untitled thing. I don't do Untitles anymore. Because I got 50 and I thought, that's enough. We'll name them now. Anyway, moving along. What am I talking about? Where am I going? Bye!